Hello, welcome to another episode of Movie Theater Explorer. This is Brent here, your Movie Theater Explorer. Today, talking about a few of the movies that I have seen in theaters and in my home theater in the last couple weeks to give a couple recommendations of things you can look out for. First off, I do want to start off with, because I had just gotten out of it not too long ago, is talking about my thoughts on Wicked for Good. Um, so obviously the big showings start this weekend. I got to go pay for an early screening that was going on tonight. So I went to go check it out, and I checked out with a few of my friends. I um, got to see it in a premium theater at my local cinema. So um, I'll just start off with my overall thoughts. First off, just to let you know that the way so Wicked for Good is basically part two of the Wicked story. Which Wicked is based off, or yeah, Wicked Part One and Wicked for Good are both based off the musical Wicked that was performed on Broadway. Um, so I need to start off first off that I have not seen the musical on stage, so any of my thoughts are not in comparison with the musical itself because I've never seen it. I might have heard a song or two beforehand, but um, anyway, yeah. So, but I was not familiar with it. I might have known maybe some beats, but that's about it. Anyway, so I saw part one last year, and obviously was just like really mesmerized by what we got. And so I was definitely anticipating on how it would conclude. Um, I can easily say I was very satisfied with what we got. Um, obviously, I share my thoughts on what everyone says. The first part was obviously the better out of the two. I liked the first part more, but to be honest, I feel like obviously the first part is elevated because of the second part, so it works for me. I was happy with it, and yeah, obviously the I still like the songs we got. The songs I did like the songs a bit more, um, but it's probably also because I've had a year for some of these songs to um, to grow in my mind. I've not really listened to the soundtrack a whole lot since I've seen it in theaters and a couple of times at home. But yeah, but again, give me another 6 months, and I might say, oh yeah, no, the songs are still great um, and everything. But obviously the first part had this had the songs I liked more, but it still good. And obviously, this one's definitely darker. Definitely goes for a darker turn and certain things that happen, obviously, and how things conclude. But overall, I was happy with it. Obviously, the big things were the big standouts. The production design was gorgeous. The cinematography was great. How how the whole world was framed and everything. It was great. Those technical aspects. Also, shout out on the costume design because yeah, the costumes are really gorgeous as well. Um, and then the performances were great, and the big ones were Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Um, they were both excellent main performances here, and the reason all this works is because of their performances, and their singing was great, and yeah, just their emotional performances. So um, and yeah, first off, I'll say as far as conclusion, you like the first part. I still recommend checking out this part. It was still satisfactory, and for in my opinion, this is think of this part, Wicked for Good, is part two of the whole Wicked story. that you want to get the whole story. Don't just settle with like, okay, I saw the first part, I'm good. Unless you didn't care, you were watching the first part and you didn't really care, then it's like, okay, then I understand you don't need to see it. But if you really like the first part, you should still see the second part because it is it does complete the whole story, and that's I feel like that's how it was designed to be. Um, so yeah, and then like I said, I got to see it in a premium theater um, at my local cinema, and the yeah, it looked really good and sounded really good as well. So yeah, so yeah, obviously, if you can try to see it in like a premium screen, I do recommend checking it out that way. Obviously, taking advantage of all the full colors and everything, and yeah, the sound is well designed. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts on Wicked for Good. So obviously coming out this weekend, and so glad I got to get a paid early screening for it. All right, so I'm just gonna rewind also. I did end up rewatching the first part of Wicked this week because obviously I felt like this was it wasn't it was a part two that I needed to rewatch part one and refamiliarize myself because the last time I'd seen it was I think February since was the last time I watched it. So and and just needing to refamiliarize all these connections and how they would pay off. But um, anyway, so I watched it in my dedicated home theater. So, and the picture quality on the 4K, it was a 4K Ultra HD that I watched it on, and the 4K image was gorgeous. Definitely the colors were really great. How they were rendered well, and I could re-experience this, all that. So yeah, it was very well. Um, it was just a great home theater experience. The because yeah, the picture was great in 4K, where the color stood out and helped bring that world to life, and also the sound being in Dolby Atmos, and it was well rendered and everything. So yeah, the home theater presentation was great. So yeah, um, if you have a really good home theater setup, I do recommend picking up Wicked Part One on 4K. So other ones that I've seen throughout the past 2 weeks, I did watch The Hidden Fortress. So one of the directors I know has a lot of influence on the film world is Akira Kurosawa, and I wanted to watch his some of his movies, and one of them I recently watched was The Hidden Fortress, and The Hidden Fortress was great. Um, let's see, it's been about a week and a half since I last saw it, but yeah, just a really good story, and um, for all of you that don't know this, Hidden Fortress is basically the early blueprint of what um, Star Wars would take to help form, or George Lucas would form his story of Star Wars. And I mean, I could watch and I'm like, oh yeah, I can see aspects here and there and everything, and it was kind of cool. So performances are great. Also, it's a black and white movie. It was released in 1958, but the cinematography was really good. Just how it was captured, how it was framed, and everything was like was very was very engaging. I really liked how it was presented. I did pick up the 4K Ultra HD from BFI, and so I watched it in my modest home theater. And again, the 4K image presented, how it was captured, and everything was great. Like the details really stood out, and I'm like I was very impressed. Like I could just if just seeing all the details of the scenery and everything was just great. Um, and again, all black and white and just felt stable. Um, and then the sound was basically, I think it was maybe front. I don't remember exactly what the encoding was on the disc, but it was more in the front. So and it sounded good. Like the music sounded clear, the sound effects sounded clear, the dialogue sounded clear. I mean, again, dialogue sounded clear, even though you're mainly reading the subtitles. It still sounded clear. So yeah, this disc was really good. It really presented the presented a really good home theater experience. I was very happy with it. So um, again, I know there's also the movie is available on Blu-ray here in the States from Criterion, and that's I'm pretty sure that's a great way to watch the movie. Um, and I'm sure at some point, I gotta think at some point that they'll likely release it on 4K. They've done that for some other Akira Kurosawa's movies like Seven Samurai and all. So I would expect it would at some point. But if you don't want to wait, and you just want to get the Blu-ray, there's the Blu-ray and Criterion. If you want to just pick it up overseas to get the BFI on 4K, that's a great option. Then again, I can't compare to the Blu-ray because I've not seen the Blu-ray, but I can tell you how the 4K disc looks and sounds, and it sounded really good. So yeah, it was a really good home theater presentation. Obviously, saying that, obviously, not to expect something like modern movies. It's more like it is. It is a movie of the olden era, but it sounded really good. They restored it well. So, another speaking of another older movie, continuing on my journey of going through all the Sean Connery James Bond movies, I continued by going to his next one, and it's in the James Bond series for Sean Connery, which was You Only Live Twice, um, which I believe was his fifth entry into the James Bond world. I really enjoyed what we got before. I still enjoyed what we got here. I do have to admit I don't enjoy this one as much as I enjoy the other ones. Um, but that being said, I think he still did a really good job. He still did a really good job as James Bond, Sean Connery did, and and I still liked a lot of the action sequences we got. The cinematography was really good. I really liked the locations we were taken to, which were primarily in Japan, and yeah, just like there were some locations that I'm like, wow, that was gorgeous, and just how they framed things and everything, and yeah, the I so yeah, I was definitely happy that I got to see it. Again, I would say out of the ones I've watched so far, this one's probably my least favorite. Um, I'll have to get back to you on when I watch all the rest of the. I think there's one more, Diamonds Are Forever, which I will watch it fairly soon. Um, and I may try to check out Never Say Never Again because I know he came back. Um, I don't know how to describe that one to tell you the truth because I think it's unofficially James Bond. It's not really official part of the James Bond series itself, but more of its separate thing. But I couldn't tell you how that all works. Um, but regardless, out of the five that I've seen so far, You Only Live Twice is probably my least favorite. But I still say if you watch all the other ones, I still recommend checking it out. Um, yeah, and then as far as I experienced this movie in um, my modest home theater. Um, the image quality for the 4K image was really good. It definitely looked filmic. Definitely, um, like colors looked well rendered and natural, and all that. And then the sound sounded really good as well. Um, yeah, it was in Dolby Atmos again, and definitely sounded really good. And so I was very impressed. They continue to do a great job with um, presenting these movies. Obviously, like the Dolby, being in Dolby Atmos, it obviously does bring forth a lot of cool like sound effect elements. It doesn't. It more just places them a little bit. I think is the right word. It it doesn't make it sound like it's completely. It still sounds like um, an older movie. Just some sound effects are more spaced out to feel a little more immersive. I do believe these discs also do contain the um, original soundtracks. So if you're one that doesn't really want these to be presented in Dolby Atmos, then you can check them out that way. I've not listened to the original presentation, so I couldn't compare and contrast. But again, the Dolby Atmos did a really good job and sounded really good and felt quite immersive in certain parts and were appropriate, of course. So yeah, I was definitely very. It was definitely a really good home theater presentation. A really good home theater experience. So yeah, there. That's my recommendation for You Only Live Twice. Um, my next one on my list was Now You See Me 3, or what's called Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Um, so I got to see this in Cinemark XD. So let me just go a little bit about the my review on the movie. It's been a long time since I've seen the first two. Um, I've seen both these movies, the first two entries in theaters when they came out. Summer 2013 is when the first one came out, and I was actually working at a movie theater at the time, so it was. I remember trying to stay away from checking many of the theaters when they were playing, so I didn't really get spoiled on things because I heard there was a twist, and I tried to stay away to make sure I didn't find out what that twist was, and so I went in, and I was definitely very surprised by the twist. And then the second one I saw 3 years later. I wasn't working at the theater at the time, so I was able to just go in and find out what the surprise is without worrying about catching anything. Um, and then, so I really liked the first one. The second one I actually did enjoy as well. Um, but yeah, I would say I definitely like the first one more than the second. But there were still a lot of cool aspects of the second one. Definitely a few cool sequences. Um, so I was definitely very impressed. And then, yeah, so for this third one, I did not rewatch the first or the second one in preparation for them. So I just went in and just enjoyed it as it was, saw it in Cinemark XD. Okay, so we'll go back to that part in a bit, but yeah, obviously picks up years later. Obviously, the main characters are in a different state of things, and so yeah, and I won't tell how. I mean, some of the trailers do bring forth a few hints or clues on certain things, but this does involve like a new group of magicians to help bring down another group of bad guys, basically. Um, which okay, yeah, let me look up her name because I don't want to mess that up. But okay, sorry, just trying to give you the actress that played the bad guy was Rosamund Pike. So and so basically her, so yeah, she's the bad guy in this, and there's definitely returning characters, so to speak. But yeah, um, I was really impressed with. I really like the storytelling. I mean, if you like the simple way to put it, if you like the other two, I recommend this. If you didn't care for the first two, this one's not like, oh, this one's like leagues better. right now I'm still debating, and I'm probably gonna I'm actually I'm pretty much gonna go back and rewatch the first two at some point. But I did I I'm still debating how I would rank them. I would put the second one as my least favorite out of the three, but I'm just debating which one I would put more. I think I put the first, then the third, and then the second is how I think about it right now. And again, I might change my mind later on. Um, so, but yeah, I the twist obviously I am not going to reveal. I don't want to spoil that. But I was definitely kind of surprised by the twist. Um, so yeah, um, and I did like the twist that we got here. So um, and then again, so yeah, I do recommend it. I do recommend checking it out, especially if you like the first two for sure. Um, and if you're just looking for a fun time, it's like, yeah, I think you can enjoy it and still have a fun time. But really, I would say you've at least seen the first two at some point. I do recommend checking this one out. You'll have a fun time as well. And then again, I saw it in Cinemark XD in the presentation in the theater I went to. It was a Friday night, and it was actually quite a few people in the theater, so it was definitely really good. And then yeah, the image in 4K, the image in the theater looked great. It was definitely a large screen, and the sound sounded very immersive and sounded really good and well rendered. So it was a great theatrical presentation in Cinemark XD. So yeah, um, again, regardless if you see it in a regular theater or a premium theater, I still think it's a fun time in the theater. Um, And then, so yeah, there's that. I also wanted to watch uh, uh, a movie from the Criterion Collection. This month is 50% off for all the Criterion Collections movies at Barnes and Nobles, and I believe you can also get a number of them off Amazon as well, but for 50% off. So, I mean, I picked this one up a while ago, but I wanted to watch it. It's called A Samurai, which is French for the samurai. Um, so basically, it's a movie about a contract killer, and basically focuses on one of his missions and connections that happen as a result of that mission. I think that's the most I want to give without spoiling too much. So, um, the interesting part this movie was released a very long time ago. It was released in 1967. It's a French language film, so it is still yeah French language film. So, um, but the interesting thing about this is a lot of the aspects of this helped influence many other movies that would come later on. And I looked up that later, and I was just like, oh wow, I didn't know it influenced this. I didn't know it influenced that. Um, it was definitely a really good movie. Um, I was surprised by how much I was enjoyed and engaged in it. And I watched this in my dedicated home theater. I got it on 4K Ultra HD. The 4K image looked really good. Obviously, it's a movie from 1967, but it felt very filmic, and the details really looked good, and color looked good. Felt like it was presented well, and the audio was in um, LPCM 1.0, and it sounded quite good as well. It was definitely a really good home theater experience. It was a very good home theater presentation. So, um, so yeah, I do. If you're a fan of this movie, I do recommend picking it up. Um, so yeah, but it was definitely a very fascinating movie. It's definitely well shot and well everything. So the last one I do want to discuss quickly was I'm hoping I say this right, is Nuremberg. Um, I did not know much about it until I had until I've had a few of my parents and a few of my friends recommend the movie, and so I I mean I briefly heard about it and I decided, you know what, I kind of want to check this one out. So I went to go to a screening at my local Cinemark, and I thought it was a very good movie. It was definitely really good. The big standout, it's basically takes place during World War II. The story basically revolves um, the aftermath of after Adolf Hitler dies, and in involving a trial. I don't know been how much is in the summary and all that. Maybe I should look up the overview and just tell you what it is. Um, um, I'm just reading this off on Google. As the Nuremberg trials are set to begin, a U.S. Army psychiatrist gets locked in a dramatic psychological showdown with accused Nazi war criminal Hermann Goring. And Hermann Goring is played by Russell Crowe, and the psychiatrist is played by Rami Malek. Um, those two performances are obviously the main standouts, and then the other performances were great as well. But yeah, um, if you definitely are interested in the subject, I do definitely recommend checking this one out. It is a heavy movie. It definitely some things get shown which were like, yeah, I'm trying to think how much to say, but it was yeah, there was definitely some disturbing images. I think that's a safe bet to say, um, which are, I believe, yeah, I won't go too much further beyond that. But yeah, there are some disturbing images that are shown at a particular point. Um, but it's definitely well presented. It's definitely like the movie is definitely well told, and yeah, I found myself very engaged. The theater I went to is a smaller theater, but it was definitely a packed one. It was on a discount day, but and it was definitely full, and I think it felt like everyone was really engaged with it. So I do recommend checking this one out. Um, all right, that's pretty much what I have for this little bit, but I did want to answer. I'm just going to ask this quick question, and then I'm going to answer it. But um, what are a couple movie theaters I would like to visit? And so, um, one of the ones I would like to actually visit is the Cinerama in Los Angeles. I'm not really familiar if it's. I think they haven't opened it, or I think it's open again. So, but I do want to visit that theater at some point. Um, it definitely seems like a really cool theater. Another one I would like to visit, as you know, I'm a big IMAX guy. Um, I like going to see these movies in IMAX. But the one theater I would like to see is one of the original. I think it might be the original IMAX theater, which is in Toronto, Canada. I think right now it's still closed. I'll have to look all that up, but I would like to go and check out a movie there. Um, that would be kind of cool to check out. Um, it looks really cool. Another one I actually would like to I'm gonna add as well is seeing a movie in an IMAX dome, or the IMAX, I believe is what the term is. I think there's a couple of them in California, so I would like to try to see a movie that way. The actually one more I do have now um, is the Sphere in Las Vegas. I know they tweaked the original Wizard of Oz and represented it, for the Sphere, and I hear it's spectacular. So I do want to check that out at some point. I'm probably going to try to make that one happen in the near future. But yeah, if I any of these theaters, if I do try to check these out, I'll definitely share my experiences on when I do check them out. But yeah, those are just a few of the theaters that I would like to visit at some point. Um, and then yeah, if there's any other ones that stand out, obviously I will share them. Because yeah, there's a lot of cool theaters out there. I mean, the local ones are always fun to go to. Some independent ones are actually really cool. There are actually a lot of independent ones are really cool to check out as well. Um, so yeah, and then the IMAX theaters are always cool, especially the ones for like the bigger ones. If you remember the ones like back in the day where they used to be really enormous. So anyway, that's all I'll get for today, and thank you for tuning in for me for a bit of time for me to discuss the movies I have seen. Hopefully, you got some good recommendations and that you'll check out something cool this weekend or coming up in the next, especially with Thanksgiving coming up with certain movies coming out. There's some ones that I've been hearing really good things about. They're supposed to be next weekend. Zootopia 2. Also, Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out story, which is the third Knives Out movie. Um, with before it hits Netflix. It's going to be hitting theaters. So if you have a local theater playing it, I do recommend trying to check it out that way. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't get my thoughts or impressions on that. But um, still, seeing these movies in theaters are obviously the best way to experience these movies as opposed to waiting them for streaming. So, and the Knives Out movies are really fun movies to watch. So, if you've watched the other two, I would figure this is going to be another great one as well. And I'll definitely share my thoughts after I see it. Um, I think I said Zootopia too. And then I've been hearing really good things. I mean, Wicked for Good. I do recommend checking that out. And I've also been hearing really good things about Rental Family as well. And I do plan to check that one out, and I'll share my thoughts as well on that when I see it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and I'll let you go. And this is Brent here, Movie Theater Explorer, and go and explore your local cinema. Thank you.